So I saw the Zoom H6 originally on Leon Lush / Lush Life channel, and I love his quality of his videos, and I love the sound because it really pops. And this was also recommended by a good friend of mine, he's voiceover talent named Anthony Fleischman Jr. And Anthony just said, you know, if you can afford it, definitely invest in the Zoom H6. So I did exactly that. I invested in the Zoom H6, and we're going to be doing a Zoom H6 unboxing and live stream setup in today's video. So in my previous videos, I talked about the Shure SM7B and the Cloudlifter CL1. If you happen to have missed those, I actually will leave a link inside the description down below to you so you can actually go see the first part of my audio setup being the SM7B and then the CL1 mic activator, and it goes into the integral part to my whole audio setup, and that is the Zoom H6. Now, I've used quite a bit of audio interfaces over the past few years doing live streaming and pre-recording videos. I've used the Tascam, I've used the Focusrite, and another one that just eludes my brain right now. But what I was looking for in an audio interface was I needed to have phantom power because the Cloudlifter CL1 requires 48 volts to power it. Now, the SM7B did not need to have the phantom power. So in the event that you don't have the CL1, rest assured you could still use your SM7B with the H6. It's just recommended that you use the CL1 so it boosts that sound. At any rate, it needed to have multiple inputs because I was planning on having guests. And speaking of guests, I want to have it to where it was highly portable. So anytime that I'm traveling to different cities and I end up doing some video collaborations or interviews, I wanted to have one spot that I could actually put in good microphones and place it in there and get good high quality sound, because unfortunately the iPhone just wasn't cutting it anymore for me. And last but not least, I needed to have XLR inputs for the cables as well as 1/4 inch accessibility. I am a musician, so every now and then I would love to actually plug in my guitar and sit down and record some music. So having that accessibility was very important to me. Now for the Zoom H6, here are the features. It includes direct recording to SD cards up to 128 gigabits, display 2-inch full color LCD, it's 320 by 240 pixels, gain knobs, pads, and phantom power for each input. And the nice thing is with the phantom power, you could turn it on or turn it off for any one of those inputs. So that way you can kind of mix and match. There are some audio interfaces where it's an all or nothing. And I do recall that when I had the Tascam US 322, I either had it on for both those inputs or I had it off. I couldn't have a mixture of both of those. And as you can imagine, you can't be plugging in a microphone that doesn't need phantom power into something that's providing phantom power, because that can cause some real issues. Newly redesigned preamps with an ultra-low noise floor. This means that with an ultra-low noise floor, that means less hiss, that means less having to kick up your gain so you can actually hear what's going on with your sound. Mountable directly to DSLR or camcorder with optional hot shoe mount adapter. Multi-channel and stereo USB audio interface for PC, Mac, and iPad. Now that was a big win for me because I use both PC and Mac for a lot of my recording needs. So having that to where I could, bounce between the two of those was a big victory to me. Includes owner's manual, XWYH6XY capsule, MSH6 MS capsule, AA size LR6 batteries ×4, a USB cable, sponge windscreen, Cubase LE software and Wavelab software, and a carrying case. Now that's just the Zoom H6 features by itself, but I was really looking for something that had an entire kit because I didn't feel like going and trying to piecemeal everything together. Just wanted it all to be sent in one shipment, and preferably from a seller that was Zoom. I didn't want to buy from a third-party company and risk not having the proper warranty in case something went wrong, or getting the proper equipment, or get something that's used or broken or junky. So I ended up ordering a little kit, and this was actually the Zoom H6 6-track portable recorder with interchangeable microphone system with deluxe accessory bundle included. Now they actually included some studio headphones for an optimal playback experience. Heads up, that headphone was garbage. It was straight trash. If I could return it back just so Amazon could shame Zoom for this, those headphones were just, they were awful. They were awful. I put them on, they were super tight. and they were very quiet. I just didn't find them useful at all. I mean, I played around with it. I went and tried it in different devices beyond the Zoom H6, and it was just hardly audible. I really need to have headphones that I could hear loud and clear and not have to crank the gain all the way up to 100. So yeah, those studio headphones went over to the nearest Goodwill, or I might have given them to like a nephew or niece or something. Either way, they're no longer in my house. That was how much I disliked those headphones. They were just trash. It also came with a 16 gigabyte memory card, 4 AA rechargeable batteries with compatible charger, auxiliary cable, and tabletop tripod. It was kind of nice having that tabletop tripod because I was able to kind of screw it in and lift it up, and it actually angles forward for you so you can kind of get in all the stuff dialed in rather than having it flat, reaching over and trying to guess your way through things. You can actually see the dials where they're at and dial it in just properly. Now for my live stream setup, this is how I've got it put together. I plug in the DC 5-volt USB adapter that comes with the Zoom H6. Now this wasn't just part of the kit, it actually came with the Zoom H6 itself. I use the Shure SM7B that ends up plugging into the Cloudlifter CL1 mic activator with an XLR cord. It's important you get a good XLR cord with good shielding so that way you're not getting a lot of hum and hiss and things like that. And from the CL1, I plug another XLR cord over into the Zoom H6. You must turn on phantom power if you're going to be utilizing a microphone that requires that, or if you're using a mic activator like the CL1. So in this instance, I had to turn on the 48 volts to actually power the mic activator. And then I adjust the volume accordingly. It's just that simple. Now there's other features inside the Zoom H6 that include things like the compressor limiter. You can actually use a mixer. There's so much in there. They even have a tuner, and I believe like a metronome might have been in there. I can't recall right off the top of my head because a lot of it's like some musical things that I probably would never use. But either way, they have a ton of stuff in there. Honestly, outside of using the 48 volts and the external knobs here, I really didn't mess with too much more. I've just got the Shure SM7B put into the mic activator into the Zoom H6 to get the sound that I have right now on this video. Okay, so now it's time to break down the cost. Now you got to stay with me here for just a second because there's a few different layers here on this one. So with the Zoom H6, they actually had released the Zoom H6 a while ago, and then coming into 2020, they released a black model. It was an all black model. So the model that I actually ended up getting was the Zoom H6 pre-2020 model. Now it's black, but its accessories come in silver. It runs right about $288.63 for the Zoom H6 by itself. Now that's not the kit, so don't get too confused on this. Here's the thing that I found kind of peculiar was there's actually more items in the older model than there is with the newer model. And I was trying to dig through forums and such like that to find out an answer. But all that to say this is like the newer model is just all black. So with the older model, you actually get two types of mics that actually plug directly into this, and you don't need to worry about phantom power or anything else like that. You've got the sponge windscreen and a carrying case. Now for the Zoom H6 all black edition that came out in 2020, that runs right about, it's a manufacturer suggested retail price of $349.99. Now, Amazon typically knocks down the price right to about $325. It's a little over $300 sometimes. But then it comes with less items. So if you're watching this still in 2020, might I recommend, this is my suggestion, look for the pre-2020 model and buy it up now. Chances are very likely that Zoom is probably trying to liquidate any of the old stock so that way they can focus on selling the new black models. And then last but not least was the bundle. And that's what I ended up picking up. You know, putting the headphones aside, having the chargers kind of nice, having the table tripod is really good. The auxiliary cable, that's kind of nice. I ended up spending right about $359.99, and you ever kind of feel like a sucker? In this particular instance, I really wish I probably just had picked up the Zoom H6 and then just ordered the tripod, because I essentially just ended up spending $70 for the tabletop tripod. So, that is what it is. So is the Zoom H6 worth it anyway? Because I mean, you're looking at $288 for the pre-2020 model. You're looking at about $350 or a little less than that for the black model, and then about $350 for the actual kit itself. Now, I'm just going to say this right now, the kit, that's going to be completely up to you, because rechargeable batteries are well and good, but was it essential? Not really. I already had some rechargeable batteries, so now I've got a ton of rechargeable batteries and a recharger. The tabletop stand is nice. I would recommend that you at least buy that if you end up getting the Zoom H6 by itself. When it comes to the Zoom H6 all black, I'm not saying that it's terrible, but if you're going to end up spending $350, you might as well just go ahead and just get the bundle and get all that stuff thrown in with it. And who knows, maybe you can, gift out those really bad headphones to somebody you dislike, or maybe a coworker, and they'll probably be tickled to death, because they look great by all means, but they're just complete trash in my opinion again. And hey, if you want to go ahead and take a look at some more of the product details, go ahead and visit livestreamingtech.com/ZoomH6. The link is inside the description down below. I talked a little bit about the Shure SM7B, and I actually did a full unboxing and review of this microphone. You've seen it on the Joe Rogan podcast. Well, actually, I'm using that right now. You can take a look at it this very next video where I unbox and talk a little bit more about how I use it with the Zoom H6. I'll see you there.